Hey, and welcome back, everybody. It's Alfred again, and I'm going to do another video here for the Develop Your Skills from our textbook. In this case, we're going to be doing Microsoft Excel Chapter 5. So I'm going to go start getting to our ebook. I'm going to open the internet. I like Chrome. I go to the address bar and I start to type in bookshelf. It's suggesting it because I've been there enough. I'm already logged in, it appears, so I'm going to click the book, Microsoft Office 2019. If you're not logged in, use the login information I provided. It might open me in the right area, but it didn't, so I'm going to click the table of contents. I'm going to click Unit 3, Microsoft Excel. I'm going to go here to Excel Chapter 5, Organizing Large Worksheets, page 120, and I'm going to click the chapter opener here. Now I'm going to go ahead and close my table of contents. I'm going to start to read a little bit about what the chapter's about, organizing large worksheets. So this is when you have sheets that have lots of data on them. Remember, a spreadsheet can be huge, millions of rows. Believe it or not, people actually have sheets that big. I've worked in one with 9,000 rows. So they can be really large, and that's kind of daunting when you're used to working in sheets that might only be 50 seems big. So we're going to learn how to work with a template, start a workbook from a template, change worksheet view options, sort and filter data, use what's called if functions, apply data validation rules, using scale to fit print options, and create and modify tables. What they also don't say in here is we're going to learn something that I really like, is you're going to learn how to adjust the print margins. There's a way you can get to what's called page break preview, and you could create your own page breaks to make things print on their own pages. It's really cool. I love what we do in this exercise. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next page, and then I'm going to start sizing my window appropriately. I point to the title bar. I can drag it off the right side of the screen because I'm on Windows 10. I'm going to make it a bit smaller so my Excel screen can be a bit bigger. Usually when the text gets small, I usually know I'm pretty good. For what I like to do, I'm going to click the A here, and I'm going to start to zoom in, at least make the text more readable for my eyes right now. So starting with the template basically means a pre-made document. They can be invoices, a whole bunch of different things. It's a quick way to get yourself started. Templates allow you to use pre-existing workbooks, which usually has the formatting, headings, and formulas already created for you. For example, templates are useful when creating invoices where the structure and format are the same and only information such as names, dates, and amounts need to be changed. You can also create your own custom templates. They don't do a great job in this book of really teaching you how to do that and manipulate them, but they do cover it lightly. Another option is to create your own template instead of using the ones that are built in. They're showing you here, instead of saving it as an Excel workbook, you save it as a template. When people open it correctly, it means they cannot make changes to it without saving a copy of it. That's the real magic of it. A template means, just like when we open a blank workbook, that's considered a template. It's just blank. It just means that the font is already set up and all that kind of stuff. Here they're showing you an example of a template of a payroll calculator. So I'm going to do Develop Your Skills E5D1. This is our last Excel chapter. Wow. So it says Start Excel. So I'm just going to go to Start, and I'm going to scroll down to E for Excel. I'm going to slide my window by dragging the title bar off the left so that it snaps next to the other one. And it says a list of templates displays. Since I'm in the newer version of Microsoft Excel 365, 2019 may do this, but I've never actually seen 2019 to compare it off the top of my mind. I've worked in it at my Alvarado site, but I'm not in it as frequently. To see all the templates, I can click here. See that? Now I have all these templates here. So it's possible when you come in here, they might be hiding. You have to click that arrow. And I have a search box to search templates here, or I can go to more templates here. So I'm going to click more templates so it shows the bigger thing that you might often see in a 2019 machine or 2016 machine. Step 2 says click in the search for online templates box and type payroll. Search for online templates, type payroll. I'll do the capital P, even though I'm not sure that it makes a difference. And press enter, which I've already done. Excel searches through thousands of online templates and shows a list of templates related to your search. If you like, you can click on an option to preview it or open a template to look at it. So if you click on one, it describes it a little bit. You can always click create if you want to try to use it. There's no harm, no foul. The only harm that would come in is if you don't understand how they did their formulas. But if it works basically enough for you to click and type, then you don't have to worry much about understanding the formulas that are in there. I'm going to click the little X here to close it. And it says now we're going to create a template to be used for airspace travel. If necessary, close any open files. So I don't have to. And then open E5D1 payroll blank. So I'm going to do open now. I'm going to go to browse. Remember, your folder is likely in your documents folder. I'm already in my documents folder, but I tucked it into a couple of different folders. So I have to go into this one. You don't have to go into this one. Now, all of you have a folder similar to this one, Office 2019 student files. Now we see the Excel folder. Now we see the Chapter 5 folder, and we're opening up the one named payroll blank. This is the file we want to start with every 2 weeks when we're creating the payroll. So now we're going to make a template from this. So they did the basic typing and the setup for us, so we don't have to, but you should kind of remember how to do this. This is just fill in the background, borders around it. They changed the text color, they merged and centered. So we did all those through the various other lessons. We're now going to change this from a regular Excel worksheet, make a copy of it into an Excel template format. So it says choose File, Save As, Browse. So File, mine is Save a Copy. Browse, yours is likely Save As. In the Save As dialog box, type E5D1 Payroll Template in the file name box. So all I actually have to do here is change the word blank at the end of it to template. And then the most important part, then click the Save As Type menu button. So here where it says Excel Workbook, click there and choose Excel Template. Very, very important. You'll notice as soon as you do that, it changed locations. You see that, how it changed locations? So here we have to go to step 6. Navigate to our Excel Chapter 5 folder in your file storage location. So I have to make my way back in. Documents, this folder, this folder. Now I'm in my Office 2019, Excel Chapter 5. So this needs to say Excel Chapter 5 again. This still needs to say template down here. Click Save. Now, to edit the template itself, use File Open from with Excel. To not make changes to the real template itself, to use the template, you have to access it differently. So that's where step number 7 is coming from. Close Excel and then use File Explorer to open the template we just saved. So I'm going to exit Excel, and it says use File Explorer. What that means on a Windows machine is I click this yellow folder at the bottom on my taskbar. On a Mac, you just click Finder. I click Documents on the left. For me, I'm a few folders in before I see my Office folder. So I'm going to open this, open this. Now here's that Office folder that you should have one that's very similar. I'm going to double click Office 2019 Student. I'm going to double click Excel, Chapter 5, and it's my payroll template. This is the one we just made. Double click it. I'm going to pop this off the side over here, and I want my book. Now I'm going to make this a little smaller again, and I'm going to have to go to the A again. There we go. Okay, so now I'm back here. You'll notice up here at the top in the title bar after this is open, see how it says Payroll Template 1? That means when somebody tries to save it, it's going to force them to make a copy, in other words, a save as, where they have to rename it or change the location. So they cannot damage this actual setup. That's the real magically cool part of this. It's really awesome. Okay. Okay. So let's see. We just did step 7. Step 8 says use Save As to save the workbook as E5D1 Payroll P17. So File, Save As, Browse, or actually I can click Excel Chapter 5 over here. That's faster. And I can put the file name up here, E5-D1-Payroll P17. There we go. And I click Save. Okay, so I'll zoom in slightly. Okay, I'm going on to the next portion of the book by scrolling. Adjusting view options. When you have large amounts of data, sometimes you can use different view options. You can do things like freeze panes. So freezing panes will allow you to, for example, if I keep scrolling down, see how I lost those headings? But what if I want to see these headings all the time when I see my data? That's called freezing panes. Okay. You can also split a window. Splitting just means that I can focus on different areas of a large worksheet. I could be looking at part of the top of a worksheet and also part of the bottom simultaneously. That's called splitting a window. You can also change your workbook views. Right now we're in what's basically called print view. There's buttons down here at the bottom that change to the different views. So there's page layout view, normal view, and page break preview. Page layout view is really handy for doing headers and footers and seeing how it will actually print on a piece of paper. The view we're in right now, basically called normal, you don't really see margins and all that kind of stuff. And this other one over here is called page break preview, which we'll be doing today, which can also be found under the view ribbon. View, and here's your different workbook views. Okay. So we're going to do develop your skills E5D2. We're not going to do the save as here. No need. Step number 2, open E5D2 payroll period 17 data. So file, open, browse. Hopefully I'm in my Excel chapter 5, which I am. And we're opening up payroll P17 data. Now, you might not see it here because I don't see it in mine. If that happens to you, you need to click here where it says all Excel files and choose all files. And now I see something that says payroll period 17 data. Now I have it. I click on it, I click open. So if that happens to you, just know that you have to change that to all files. Let me shrink this window over to here. And it says in step number 3, select all data in this worksheet. So the easiest way to do that is like it says here, Control A. Then we want to copy it. So if you're on a Mac, that was Command A, Windows Control A. Now we're going to copy Control C or Command C. Okay. It says return to the E5D2 payroll sheet. So down here at the bottom in your taskbar or in your Finder, or you could even go to view here and then window, but that's a longer way. I click back on my payroll sheet here. Make sure I'm in A6. This is step 4. Make sure you're in A6 and do Control V. You brought all that data in. Okay. Step number 5 says auto fit column E so the department names are visible. So I can click anywhere here. I can go between E and F for the adjust arrow and double click. Now I can see all the data. Step 6 says switch back to enclose the other one. So on a Windows machine, this is really easy. I can point down here in the taskbar. I can point to E5D2 payroll here and just click the X to close it. It says there's a large amount of information on the clipboard. I've already pasted it, so I can choose no. Step number 7, click cell C as in cat 6. So when you're going to split the screen or freeze panes, it matters mostly where you click before doing it. Okay. If you're going to freeze panes or split, everything occurs to the left and above or below from where you click. So I'm clicking cell C as in cat 6, choosing view window split. View window group split. Notice how I have 4 quadrants or regions. They can all be scrolled kind of separately to focus on different parts of data at the same time. See, and then I can scroll these ones. See, it's kind of confusing, but I can be looking at the top portion of data. See, I'm looking at rows 7 through 12, but I'm also way down here looking at rows 60 to 63. So I can make comparisons of data in very different areas by using different scroll bars, such as this one, this one, this one, and there's even one kind of small one here. Really hard to tell, but it's there. Okay, so step number 8 says turn off the split by choosing view window split. So view, window, split. And it leaves you kind of where you were. If you want to scroll back up, you can if it bothers you. Scroll back to the top left portion of your worksheet. Oh, so they had you do it in step 9. Step 10, select cell C6 again. I'll move this over here for now. And then this time choose view, window, freeze panes. So I'm going to click square C6. Oh, and I want to scroll to the left. C6, view, window group, freeze panes, and choose freeze panes. And it says use the scroll bars or mouse wheel to scroll through the worksheet up and down. So notice as I go up and down, those headings all stay and the title above it. That's really handy, isn't it? And if I scroll to the right, notice how the first and last names stay there no matter what? That's what freeze panes is all about. It's really cool. Step 11, change the view by choosing View, Workbook Views, Page Layout. View, Workbook Views, Page Layout. It says it's not compatible with freeze panes, so just click OK. If you ever need to turn off freeze panes, you just go back to View, Freeze Panes, Unfreeze, just so you know. This is the best view for looking how it looks like on paper, but also doing headers and footers. We do a header at the end of this chapter, so we'll be back in this view at some point later. Step 13 says, switch back to the normal view. So they're asking you to do it here, down here, or view workbook views normal, whichever is your preference. Save your changes, and let's move on to the next portion of the book here. Organizing data with sorts and filters. When you have large amounts of data, you need tools to help you make sense of it. Sorting gives you the ability to put it in a particular order. Filtering allows you to narrow down by only showing records or rows that meet a certain criteria. You can do what are called custom sorts, which are based on different values, certain criteria, and you can also do multi-leveling when you do custom sorting. Filters allow you to only show records that meet a certain criteria. So they're showing you an example here where they're using the same company example where they're filtering for people only in the sales department. So these are people only in sales, and then within 5 or more years of experience, and then who have less than $10,000 of sales. So it started with a large amount of data, it went slightly down, then it went to the next level. That's what filtering is about. This is all found from the data ribbon or data, however you like to pronounce it. Sort and filter group, sort, or you could go to home editing, sort and filter, custom sort, or you could right click data and choose it. You can also do data, sort and filter, filter. Develop your skills E5, D3. I'm going to skip step number 1. I don't like to do all those save as's. Step number 2, select one cell that contains data within H6 to H63. So any data in this range, just click it. Step 3, choose data, sort and filter, sort. So data, sort and filter group, sort. Step 4, follow these steps to sort the data with multiple levels. Step 4a, now on a Mac, this is a little bit different. You have add. You don't have add level, but it's like plus level in the bottom left when you need it. Step A says choose to sort first by location. So click here and choose location. Step B says click add level. Step C says in this then by, click department. Then click OK. So what that just did is it grouped all the locations together. See how we have Los Angeles, then all the Miami people, then all the New York people. And it's grouped within the Los Angeles people alphabetically by what department they're in. All the admin people first, the management people second, the sales people third. Now, what they could have done if they had employees maybe with the same last names is they could have done a then by after department and done last name. Then it would be alphabetical within people who might have similar last names, who might be in the same department of the same location. So as you can see, sorting is really cool because it does a first sort, and then it sorts within the first sort. Okay. So your data should look basically like this and mine. Step 5, ensure you still have a cell selected within the sorted list. I do. Choose data, sort, and filter, filter. So that's data, sort and filter, filter this time. Notice these little arrows it puts next to each column heading. Step 7, follow these steps to filter your data. 7A, click the department menu button. So that's this one here. Step B, filter the department column to include only sales employees by removing the check marks next to admin and management. So I uncheck admin, uncheck management, click OK. These are only salespeople from all the locations. Step C says click the rate menu button. So I'm clicking rate, and I'm going to go here on step D, choose number filters, and choose less than, and type 14 as the value. Click OK. So these are all the people within all that data whose rate for working in the sales department is less than $14. Okay. Step 8 says the company has decided to increase all sales employees to a minimum wage of $14. So adjust the rate for the 6 employees to $14. After typing the value in the first cell, you can use the fill handle. So I'm going to click here in square G22. I'm going to type 14. I'm going to click the check mark, and I'm going to now double click my fill handle. So once again, I typed 14. I clicked the check mark. I looked for my fill handle, the thin black plus, I double clicked it. The other thing I want to point out when you're filtering is notice the row numbers on the side, how they show gaps now. And it's also blue. Also, if you look at the very bottom down here, it tells you how many total records match what you did. Our filter says 6 of 58 people met the criteria of being in the sales department and had less than $13 per hour at the time. Okay. Now we're going to take the filter off and bring back all the people. Step 9 says choose data, sort and filter, and click filter. We're no longer filtering, we see everybody. Don't be concerned there's a $13 here because this person works in administration, not sales. Save your changes. Let's move on to the next portion of the book here. The if function. Now the if function is a little bit complicated, a little bit weird, but what it does is it takes a condition or a criteria and gives you what to do if that is true and what to do if it's false. It's very useful if you start to do other functions. You can do things like a sum if or a count if. So it's a really basic function that can be added to other functionality. So I'll try to do some of this reading, but I'm not going to do all of it. As usual, you need to read parts of the book on your own when you have a chance. I just want to demonstrate the steps as we do them to make sure you can do the steps in class, or if you miss class, you'll be able to watch this video. The if function is used quite frequently because it's helpful in many situations. It allows you to determine the value to enter in a cell based on the outcome of a test, a condition of some sort. The if function also provides the basis for many other statistical functions like count if, sum if, average if. There's a bunch of them. The logical test for if functions include comparison operators, equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than, less than. These are typed on the keyboard with the comma and the period, but needing the shift key. Okay? So 2 is greater than 1. That's how you'd say 2 greater than 1. Okay. An example of an if function in practice, the if function, where there are 2 possible outcomes and there are defined criteria to determine each outcome. Now, remember, you could be doing mathematics or you could just have words come back. You could just say, if something is bigger than something, yes. Otherwise, no. It could be as simple as that. So you don't have to do any type of mathematics or things like that. And the ones we're doing, they do some mathematics. So they're a little bit trickier, or yeah, they're a little bit trickier because they're doing a light amount of mathematics in it. So for example, if you offer sales employees a $100 bonus if they achieve $5,000 in sales for the first month, you can use an if function to determine which employees qualify. In this case, the condition is the logical test. This is a question criterion that must be yes or no, true or false, whatever, is if, for example, D2, which has the value, is bigger than 5,000, or D2 is bigger than A1. There's 2 possible outcomes, yes or no. So what to do if true? If the answer is true, you can just put a result of 100. You could just say yes, or you could do mathematics, something like D2 multiplied 10%. If it's not true, meaning it's less than 5,000, You could put 0, or you could say the word no. Notice the text results are always in quotes. Or you could do mathematics, D2 times 2%. So they're showing you an example here. Equal if D2 bigger than 5,000. If yes, put 100 in there. If no, put 0 in there. That's their if statement. We're going to do some that are a little bit trickier, but I'll help you as best I can. I think I'm going to zoom in a bit here on my sheet because we don't really need to see the employee names and everything. We mainly need to see the hours worked, and I want to make sure this is large enough possibly for you to read it a little bit easier. Whoops. Yeah, that should be big enough for you to kind of see a little bit. Okay, so select cell I6 and click the insert function box. This is step 2. I'm skipping step 1. We don't need to do the save as. Once again, this is develop your skills E5D4. Step number 2, I click cell I6. In my formula bar, I click this FX. If you see the if function already in this category, you're good to go. If not, you want to change this category to logical. Here you can click and choose logical, and then scroll down to if. You're going to click if one time, and then click OK. This is step number 3. Step number 4 says follow these steps to create a formula using the if function to calculate the number of regular hours for employees. So as a reminder, the typical thing about regular hours for employees is anything over 40, right? So what we have to know is if somebody's hours are over 40 or not. So we're going to do what they say here, which is I'm going to type F6 greater than 40. So that's F6 is bigger than 40. What to do if true? I'm just going to put 40 here because they get those 40 hours if it's over 40. They only get 40 of regular pay. Value if false, I click in that box and I'm going to just type F6. Then give me whatever value is in F6. I click OK. If I look in the formula bar, you'll see it has my if function. If F6 is bigger than 40, so let's look at F6. Is F6 bigger than 40? No. If it's not bigger than 40, it gave me the false piece, which is give me whatever value is in F6. So it worked perfect. Awesome. Okay. So I just did steps A, B, C, and D under step number 4. Okay. Step 5, select cell K6. And now we're just going to type it in as we see it here. Equal if, remember, capitals don't matter. It does if you're bringing a text result, but when referring to squares like we're doing, it doesn't matter. So far I have equal if F6 greater than 40, comma, I actually did it again. F6 minus 40, comma. The commas are separating the test from the true from the false. Then I put a 0 here, close off the parenthesis. The function arguments are typed within parentheses and separated by commas. Jasmine only worked 34 hours, so there's no overtime hours to be paid. So when you get your answer of 0, don't be surprised because she gets the false piece of this. Okay? So I'm going to click the check mark. That leaves me where I just did it. It says in step 6, if necessary, select cell K6 again, then click insert function. So that's the here on the formula bar, insert function. Notice how it filled in the pieces based upon how we did our commas. Okay? And it even tells you here that the test is false. That's why it went to the true piece. I'm sorry, the false piece of 0. Click OK to close the window. Now, if we do study the function a little bit more, it makes sense. Once again, I'll study it briefly with you. If F6 is bigger than 40, is F6 bigger than 40? No. So it gives me 0. They had no overtime hours. If they had overtime hours, it's going to take whatever's in F6 and subtract 40 from it to give me the remainder of those hours. Okay? We're done with our if statements. That's it for now. Step number 8, but you'll do some in the review exercises. Click square J6 for regular pay here. It's equal, and I'm typing in the formula in step 8, I6 multiply G6. One of those formulas we did in chapter 2, but we did addition instead of multiplication, just changing the operator. And it says press tab twice. 1, 2. Now I'm in OT pay or L6. Step 9, type the formula equal K6 multiply G6 multiply 1.5 to signify overtime pay. Does that make sense? So it's the total gross pay includes regular pay as well as overtime pay. Oh, I'm sorry. Press tab, it says, to go to gross pay. The total gross pay includes regular pay as well as any overtime pay and commissions. So we're going to make a formula that adds those three squares. Step number 10, equal J6 plus L6 plus H6. I'm going to click my check mark. I just like to do that to see that I did it. And 578 makes sense. 578 plus 0 commissions. So it's J6, which was my regular pay, plus my OT pay of 0, and L6, plus any commission 0. So this plus this made 0. I'm sorry, it's 578. Okay, step number 11, apply bold formatting and currency number formatting to cell M6. So I'm here in M6. It says currency, so that's home. Here where it says general, I click the down arrow and choose currency. And did they also say bold? Bold. So home, font, bold. And now here's the really cool part. It says highlight I6 to M6. Double click the fill handle. There's all your answers. If you get these number symbols like I did, just click away somewhere, go up between M and N, and drag out a little. It just can't show the whole number very well. So whenever you see number symbols, don't panic. Just simply go ahead and widen the column. Okay. So you look here. I just like to focus for a second because the book doesn't do it. Let's look at somebody who got overtime pay. This person here in K11. If you look back at the formula here for regular pay, regular hours, square I11, you have the formula if F11 is bigger than 40, then put 40 in the square. So they did that. That's how they got 40 hours of regular pay. But how did they get their OT hours? How did they get that 7? That's because the if statement up here in square K11 says equal if F11 is bigger than 40, take F11 and subtract 40 from it. So what's F11? F11 is 47 minus 40 gives me the remainder of 7. Then we did a different formula here for overtime pay, which said 7 times their rate times 1.5. So it worked. Everything worked really well. Okay. So I'm going to save my changes. I'm going to go on to the next portion of the chapter here, which is a really cool one, which is called data validation. Data validation is really useful when you want to make sure people are typing in the correct data. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to scroll back to the left so I could see all the people, because when we do the data validation part, I don't think that I have to see all that data. Some of it I do, some of it I don't. In fact, I probably could have stayed zoomed in, but that's okay. So when entering values in Excel worksheet, it's important to be consistent and accurate. Like you don't want some people typing in the Department of Admin, other people spelling out administration, or man for management. You want to make sure everybody puts the whole word management in, or administration, etc. So in order to verify that and confirm it and keep it in good shape, it's best for you to go ahead and do some form of data validation. It will only apply to the squares that you highlight, and you can set up the rules for your data validation. So they're talking about that here. Normally you set up the data validation rules before entering the values, but you can do it after the fact if you need to. The criteria you choose can restrict the type of data as well as the range of acceptable values. You could set up a validation that says that you can type no more than 2 characters. You can do things like that. It's really cool. So if you're putting in a state field you want everybody to abbreviate, you can make sure if anybody types over 2 letters, it's going to give them a problem. Okay. They're showing you here the little box about what it will look like. You could even include an input message. We're going to do some of this right now. Hopefully you'll get a feel for it. Be sure to do that reading on your own time if you get a chance. We find it from the data ribbon or tab. Data tools is the group, data validation. So I'm not going to do we're now in develop your skills E5, D5. I'm not going to do the save as. I'm going to do step number 2, highlight the range of E6 to F11. Step 2, delete the data. Step 3, highlight the cells E6 to E11, where the departments need to go. Choose data, data tools, data validation. Data tools is over here. Data validation, I believe, is this one. It's hard to tell, but it's got a check mark and an open circle. You don't need to click the arrow. You can just click it. Here where it says allow, step B, allow any value, click there and choose list. Step C says in this source box, we're going to type in administration, comma, management, comma, whoops, no spaces, sales. Very important, no spaces. And ensure each word is separated by a comma. Click OK. Notice how you have these cool drop-down arrows next to each box here? See how I have a drop-down arrow? Isn't that really cool? That's what you just made, is your own drop-down freshness. Step 4 says click cell E6 and type MGMT. I didn't bother to capitalize it, and press enter. Notice how it says this value doesn't match the data validation. So click cancel. Now type AD for administration. Press enter. It worked. This time typing just a few letters enters the entire department name from the list because it matched part of one of the appropriate data validation values. Okay. Step number 8. Step 7, press enter. Oh yeah, because we're now in square E7. Step number 8 says use the menu button to select administration for this person. And then step 9 says use whichever method you prefer to enter the departments for the other 4 employees. So remember, one method is I can press M, press enter. The other method is I can click the arrow, and in this case I need sales, and the next 2 people are sales. So I can click here and do S, press enter, S, press enter. Whatever way you feel is faster and easier. But that's using a drop-down list for data validation. Really cool. I love that. Step 10, highlight F6 to F11. Now we're going to do a number-based data validation. So step number 11 says choose data, data tools, data validation. So that's data. Remember, I've highlighted F6 to F11, data tools, data validation. I'm going to click here for step 11, where it says set the criteria. So here where it says allow any value, you have to choose whole number. Between is good. Minimum value, it says 0, maximum value 60. And then it doesn't say to click OK, but you have to click, because we're not ready for it. Step 12 says click the input message tab, input message, and enter the following input message. Click here for the input message. Hours must be between 0 and 60 with no decimal. Period. Now I can click OK. See how in this data here, everywhere I click within that data, I get this yellow box, where no data validation is no box. Now we're going to test our validation with step 14. Click cell F6, type 61, press enter. Oh, it rejected it because it's bigger than 60. So I'm going to click retry. I'm going to type 40.5, press enter. Rejected it again, darn it. That's because, once again, no decimals when it's a whole number. Click cancel. And now we need to add in the values here. Starting in F6, this is step 15, type 34, enter, 27, 40, 30, oops, 36, 30, 47. And the formula is recalculated as they should. It says save the workbook. Going on to the next step here. Printing options. So now we're to the printing stuff. This is really cool. I really, really like this part. So I'm going to also zoom out a little because it's not so imperative. You could see the numbers. And we can just see most of the sheet now. To print large worksheets in a professional, presentable format, you may need to make some adjustments. For example, you may want to ensure that column headings are visible on all pages. You may want to choose how your data is divided across several pages, or you may want to add additional information that isn't part of the worksheet itself, top or bottom of each printed pages. Those are called header footers, stuff like that. Or just repeating data are called printing titles. You can also choose just a print area. It only prints a specific area. We're going to learn about breaks. We're going to use what are called page breaks, which tells a page when to print or not print. That's really cool. What we're going to end up doing is putting breaks in at each city. So each city puts on its own sheet of paper. I absolutely love this. And the scale to fit, you can force data onto a desired number of pages using width and height scaling, they call it. It would be pretty tough in this sheet because we got a bit of width. It would really shrink the font down a lot. It's all found under page layout, the page setup group. Headers and footers. When you're printing a worksheet, you may want information included on the printout that doesn't need to be shown on the screen. This might include information such as a title, company name, your own name, the page number, or perhaps the current date. There's existing tools in Excel for automatically entering some of this information. We're going to do it when we do a header footer. It's really awesome. Okay. Navigating to the footer section can be tricky, but there's a button on the ribbon that makes it much easier than scrolling. So think in mind from our header footer contextual tab, design, header footer, tools, design, navigation, you can go to the footer easier. To add the header or footer in, you can do insert text header and footer, or you could be in view, workbook views, page layout. The book is going to have us do it from the page layout view. Develop your skills E5, D6. Save your workbook as, don't do it. Skip step 1. Step 2, choose file print to see how it's going to print. File print. So as you can see down here near the bottom in the middle, it's 4 pages. Okay. You'll also notice it's cutting off the, OT pay and a couple of other columns. Okay. So step 3 says use the back button. Now on a Mac, this is slightly different. You don't get quite as many options, but just do the best you can if you're on a Mac. Step 4 says choose page layout. Step 3, use the back button. Step 4, choose page layout. So a different tab, scale to fit, and choose for width here, width. Change from automatic to 1 page. Step 5 says go back to the preview. So in other words, file, print. Now notice how it's only 2 pages now because these couple of columns now fit over here. Isn't that really cool? Step 6 says use the back button to return. Step number 7, print repeating headings. Step 7 is click page layout, page setup, print titles. Step number 8A, follow these steps to print repeating headings. 8A says click in rows to repeat at the top. Step B says click anywhere in row 5. And it puts this funny symbol in here or coding, $5, $5. That's perfect. All I have to do is click OK. I'm scrolling down. That was step 9 to click OK. Step 10 says choose file print. File print. Now this time we haven't gone to page 2, but we're going to go down here and click this arrow to go to the next page. Notice how these headings appear at the top of page 2. Isn't that awesome? That's what print titles is all about. Step 11 says use that back button. Step 12, highlight the range of A5 to M11. A5 to M11. So it's not very much of the data. It's just the Los Angeles people. And choose page, this is step 13, page layout, page setup, print area, set print area. Step number 14, go to the print preview. So that's File, Print. See how it only previews this? It's only one page. Okay. And then return to your worksheet. Step 14 says. Step 15 says choose page layout, print area, clear print area. Okay. Now we're going to set page breaks. For editing some of the page layout settings, it's best to be in page layout view. However, for adding and adjusting page breaks, it's best to be in page break preview. So choose, and I can just going to click away so nothing's highlighted. Step 16, choose view, workbook views, page break preview. View on the left side, workbook views, page break preview. Don't worry about the true readability of this. It's more about giving you an idea where this dotted line is where everything is breaking. Step number 17, place the mouse pointer over the page break line. That's that dotted line here. And drag it up to below row 11. Boom. So you're forcing just this little amount of data to be on page 1 now. You'll see that all of this data will be on page 2 and it made a page 3. Step 18 says drag the new page break up. That's this dotted one. Make sure you're always dragging the dotted one at first. To the below row 28. In other words, the last Miami person. Okay. Now we want to separate the Toronto people and the Vancouver people to be by themselves, but we don't have an extra page anymore. So we have to bring in manual page breaks. So that's what step 19 is about. Step 19 says click cell A38. Technically, you could be anywhere in row 38. It really doesn't matter. And then choose page layout, page setup breaks, insert page break. We're going to repeat a similar process here with step 20. Insert another page break above the Vancouver employees. So that basically means click in square A52, go to page layout, page setup breaks, insert page break. Now we're going to, and then it says change the work, step 21, change the workbook view back to normal. That's view, workbook views, normal. You don't see the page breaks here, but they appear in your print, okay? Step number 21 also says, then go to the print preview. So file, print, page 1, notice how it has all the Los Angeles people. Page 2, all the Miami people. 3, New York. 4, Toronto. And 5, finally, the Vancouver. That's just awesome. I love that. That is just incredibly cool. So I'm just going back to page 1, even though it really doesn't matter. Now I'm going to click the back button here to return to my sheet. Step 22, we're going to do headers. It says return to your worksheet and then switch to page layout view. So that's view, workbook views, page layout. Step 20, it says you will see the header and footer tools design tab. I'm sorry. Step 22, and select the left header section. So up here at the top of the page, I just click in this first box in the upper left. It says in step 23, you should see just above 23, it says you should see a contextual ribbon that says header and footer design tools or header and footer something. For me, I can go to header and footer elements, file name, header and footer elements, file name. So we're putting the name of the file in the left section. Step 24 says click in this center section. And from the same header and footer ribbon, header and footer elements, you're going to choose page number. It puts in its own code, don't worry. Step 25 says insert the current date in the right section. So I click the right section, header and footer elements, current date. It says deselect the header area. That just means click anywhere in this data. Notice your header at the top. I happen to be on page 5. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Step number 6 says deselect and then switch back to normal view. So that's view, Workbook views, normal. I'm going to go down here now, and it says, and then go to print preview one last time. So file, print. Here I am on, look at my header at the top of page 1. I go here to page 2. Now I have the header and everything. Just incredibly awesome. Incredibly awesome. Go back, save your changes. Let's see what the next portion of the book's about here. Using what we call Excel tables. Excel tables are really powerful. They're really awesome. There's a lot that can be learned in them, so you may want to look for further information or tutorials from other websites by searching up Excel tables. They do different types of formulas quick and easy, but you're going to see some really quick and cool things that could happen from a table just in virtue of converting it to a table. They allow you to more easily organize and analyze your data. Tables simplify the process of performing sorts and filtering, and calculating totals, and even modifying the format of the data. The process of taking existing data and inserting a table is very simple. You can just click in the data and do it. Okay, so you can do it from insert tables table or insert or table tools design tables convert range. There's even a third way, but they don't tell you, which is okay. Develop your skills E5D7. We do not need to do the save as here, so I'm going to step 2. Select cell J6. And then choose Insert Tables Table. So that's Insert Tables Table. It searches for all the adjacent data. It found the data in A5 to M63. So make sure this says A5 to M63. If it doesn't, you have a problem. Click and make sure my table as headers is checked. Click OK. And then they have this new thing. I'm just going to click Not Now. Okay, step 4. Click the Department menu button. So Department menu button. And it says, notice the filtering and sorting options. Uncheck the filter boxes for admin and sales. So we only want management people. Click OK. Now I'm just going to click to deselect the data because I don't need it selected. So we only have management people now. Isn't that cool? Step number 6, use the rate menu button to sort the management department employees by rate from largest to smallest. So I'm going to go to rate, click here, and I'm going to do sort largest to smallest. So it has the person with the largest rate at the top going to the lowest rate at the bottom. Step 7, choose Table Tools Design. So we have a whole new ribbon here. Table Tools Design or Table Design for me. Table Style Options. Click Total Row. See how it added a total row here, and it already calculated the total here. It already added up all these gross pays. Incredible. Isn't that just awesome? Just by converting this to a table and adding that one row, it did it for me magically. It says select cell F64. So F64. Click the menu button right here and choose Sum. It added up all the hours of all those employees in the management area right now. Isn't that really cool? Quick math at your fingertips by making it a table. Step 9, change the table style to white table style medium 1. So we do that here from table design, table styles. It's usually easiest if you open the more button just to see them all. And it says white table style medium 1. So that's likely the first one. White table style medium 1. It had to be in the medium category, likely the first one. Click it, and it just made this grayish instead of blue or whatever color it was. Step 10 says use the department filter to hide the management data and display the sales only. So I'm going to click the department here. I'm going to uncheck management, and I'm going to check sales. Then I click OK. Now we have all the salespeople, and if you scroll down, new totals. Isn't that cool to get quick snapshots of your data? Really, really cool. Step 11 says use the location menu to resort the data by location. So I'm going to click the location dropdown, sort A to Z. Now that all the Los Angeles people are together and everything, and the totals, of course, stayed the same. It says to save the workbook and close Excel. That's all there really is to this chapter. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to close it. This was our final chapter of Excel. As a reminder, if you go down here, you have your review exercises. First is the quiz. You don't have to really do that. Here's your reinforce your skills. If you scroll down and do all those, of course, ask for help if you need it. You'll do many in class. I want to help you during class, but email me, whatever you need to do. If I click this arrow, of course, you have your apply your skills review exercises. So once again, I really hope this helps you understand what we did in class, or if you needed to review, wanted to try things again, that was it. So we'll see you for the next video, which will be PowerPoint. Take care.